Someone said, "Why am I going to pay $500 for a picture of a hobo?"
I always thought Kyle Beckerman was a good player.
Fire sticking their foot in it.
They said they were going to cut my food rations.
Cork soaking.
There is no possible way to articulate the malaise, the lack of ambition, the way it's felt for so long to be a fan better than he did. Welcome back to the Enemies of the Fire podcast, and today we will talk all things the Chicago Fire's first home game of the season. We'll look around at MLS in the obligatory Messi section of the podcast, and we may or may not have a very special guest to talk the upcoming Columbus game. Gentlemen, I am FC Neo Tokyo. That is DPG. That is James. If I got it wrong, I got it wrong. And we are here. What's going on? How we doing? What's up?
I'm DPG.
So one of the coolest things ever happened at this Fire game this week. The Enemies of the Fire podcast got together. We all were in the same spot in relation to each other, and it was glorious. It was a glorious thing. DPG did miss out on the tailgating.
I kind of got the best of both worlds. I got to hang out with both of you for quite considerable amounts of time. It was pretty darn awesome. It started off really fantastic, man. Arriving into the parking lot, we went to the south lot, which is, I guess that's where the Fire festivities for fans take place. Isn't that right, Toke? Like, what is that, Section 8
It appears
tailgate?
so. I just never had made it early enough to go check it out because I'm always coming from the north.
But it is,
which again,
yeah.
No, I was gonna say, which again, I got dropped off and I had to walk, and I'm like, all right, it's got to be right around here.
How was that walk? You came from what? Shining Time Station or LaSalle?
No, I where did I get dropped off? Actually, I got dropped off on Michigan.
Oh, that's right. Because you did something different than walking.
Yeah, well, yeah, just took a lift and then walked, and then all that good stuff. But I had a good time, man. It was cool. Like me and my girl went, so we met up with James at the tailgate.
You just walked right up into the tailgate, and it was like, and boom, there I am. And then I'm like, all right, let's go. We saddle up and we head over to Section 8, and they're having a whole little ballyhoo over there.
Oh my God, we went way too. So like we had too much fun when we first met up, sitting there and talking, and then we were finally like, oh crap, let's go hit up the actual like party and stuff. And the vegan dogs were gone.
The beers are gone.
I asked some dude like, "Oh, anybody got beer?" He's like, "Somebody." Well, here's a beer, and he just hands me just some random beer out of nowhere. I'm like, "All right, cool." I literally tried to donate money. I'm like, "Here, bro." He's like, "Yeah." Like, okay. So we missed out on some of the craziness, but yeah, I still had an absolute blast despite a terrible soccer game.
Cheers to them. We got into Soldier Field. You went over to the behind the goal section. I met up with DPG, and I'm walking up to where DPG seats are, and I'm looking up at this fancy place, and I'm like, I do not belong there. So I just keep walking along Soldier Field and trudging along. And eventually I come to this corridor that says, hey, your seats are this way. And I look, and it's taking me into the beautiful, amazing, like seemingly sacred fountain place, like straight out of Vegas. And I'm like, my ticket takes me there? And so I go there, and the doors, these people open the doors, and I'm like, oh. And where DPG has these seats, what is it called? The supporter section or something?
No, it's called the United Club.
Oh my goodness!
United Club.
If I knew my ticket let me in there, I wish I walked in sooner. But long story short, it's beautiful in there. Cool, awesome amenities everywhere. Beers, drinks, tacos, all sorts of stuff. It was awesome. Found DPG, and boom, we get settled in, and before you know it, in comes the Chicago Fire corporate division with a mandate from the league that you got to create your own tradition. Insert clip here.
I'm not against it. I liked it.
I liked it too.
But so you guys seem like you guys had a great time coming into the stadium.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, first of all, I had about a little bit over an hour drive from my house to the stadium. Then I had to wait about 20, 30 minutes to get into the north lot or north garage.
Wait, you had to wait that long?
Yeah, they were actually checking people's cars. Like they were opening their trunks. checking, make sure nobody
this
was
isn't a
scared.
fish concert. What are they looking for, man?
You know what? I mean, you know what? They were looking for, I don't know, IEDs or something. If somebody's packing or somebody's sneaking in someone. I don't know. You know, the guy did a quick
I
open my
have a
trunk,
mean joke, but
open the trunk, get the little mirror, go around, check. Boom. I finally parked. I head inside the stadium. I get my flag. I walk down. Actually, after I got my flag, I booked it straight to the Chicago Fire store to
yeah.
pick up this baby. And again, that was another 25-minute wait.
Okay, hold on. I have to ask you a quick question before you
Yeah.
go any further. Am I an insane person, or did they not used to be in the actual store part?
They used to be in the store. They used to be an actual
that's what I
store,
thought.
and you walk in and you pick out whatever. Now, because I guess they were expecting a crap load of people, they had a table set up, and you basically had to pick whatever was in the back.
Yeah.
It was. I saw there was some cool stuff, but
There was some cool stuff. And if you're a season ticket holder, you got obviously use your code 20% off. So I waited about 25 minutes in line trying to get my jersey. I got my jersey. Went to go look for James. I was expecting him to be sitting in my seats. Wasn't there.
Nope.
no, he was
there.
hanging out with me. You're
he was
always
at-
late. You're
Yeah.
always late if you're hanging out with me.
So I sat in my seat. The next thing I know, about 5-10 minutes later, I have this random dude just come up to me like, "Hey, DPG." So yeah, there you go. It was like
I'm
it
carrying
was
like
like
two
Hulk
pizzas and a
Hogan.
beer.
It was like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, with the handshake thing.
The Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers, like.
Yup, it was like a meeting of minds. So
There you go.
yeah,
Dude.
so
So you guys were in the lap of luxury while I was in the sports equivalent of a mosh pit down in the supporter section. And oh man, I'm not gonna lie, we had a good time, man. My girl is not into sports like that, and she had herself a very good time.
Well, then we showed up at halftime, and I think that that also, what a surprise.
oh my god, that was funny at halftime.
Nice.
It was funny at halftime because we were actually in the wrong section. We were trying to go down the stairs. The guy's like, "No, your seats are not
He
here.
was
You
ready to
can't come
fight
in."
us.
He was ready to fight. He was like, I think must have been his first day on the job, But that all power to him. He was doing his job.
He was doing his job.
We went to the other side where we were sitting at, and the guy didn't care. He didn't even bother checking.
That
dude was cool, man.
Yeah, we were just coming in to say hello, and we even told the guy, "We're just going to say hello. 30 seconds, we'll be in and out." He's like, "Not cool, man."
Not cool.
Because like straight up, I didn't want to leave. Like we were texting, we got to meet up at halftime. I'm like, hell yeah! And I'm looking around at all the carnage and chaos, and I'm like, dude, we leave. If we leave, we're fucked. Like,
well, you could have came back with us.
You know what? Yeah, you could have came back with us. I would have got your seats, bro.
Yeah,
that's not a problem.
Yeah,
but
we were doing the thing.
But we went to your section. The security guy didn't care. They were just standing there. We said hello. For the most part, it looked a little peaceful. When we got there, I didn't see anything.
It was
crazy.
very peaceful where I was, man. Things were good.
Well, the think about it. What was the score line in the game at that point?
It was 1-1.
Was it 1-1? And we're like, at least we've seen a Fire goal. And
oh my god, I was so happy that the Fire goal was like towards the supporters.
Oh,
yeah.
we'll get into that, but
oh yeah. Well, I got to tell you, the part of the problem is the first ever game I ever had my girl watch when we first got together was that first Nation League championship against U.S. and Mexico. So I'm like, oh, well, now you've seen the greatest soccer game.
Is that the Pulisic rip off his shirt game?
Yes,
Here's my abs. This is America's abs.
No, it's the one where he like shushed, and like
he's got his shirt off, and everything. Yeah, it's great.
That pissed off shirt, like
yeah. So I'm like, yo, you've seen the greatest game to ever happen. Now every soccer game from now on is going to be a letdown. Which,
I mean, it's kind of hard for any MLS game to top off USA versus Mexico and a World Cup qualifier and a Nations League final. I wouldn't even say Gold Cup final because the US tends to play their B team. So it's either Nations League final or the World Cup qualifiers. That's it.
So quick question. So it sounds like we all liked the Chicago Fire's tradition that they tried to start, basically, right?
Yeah.
It looked awkward.
Looked a
Oh,
little
see, I
awkward.
liked it.
Looks like it could. It looks
No.
like it was made up, just close. And I got what
Right.
the DJ was going for. He was like saying fire, 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 and he wanted to act
Yeah.
like a fire alarm, but nobody really quite got
It's
that.
because the thing is that they hand this Bulls player the freaking axe like here,
battle
and,
axe.
and the guy's like,
It's a
what am
fire
I?
axe.
He was like, even looking at the guy from
No, he was having
Latino.
too much fun having an axe to know.
He's
Yeah,
like,
he's
you're
like-
giving me an axe.
And then he whacked
I'm
the
surprised he
glass.
wasn't just like, thank you, and walked
Worried
off.
about his basketball career. I mean, like, do not go hurt
No,
yourself.
not only
you know?
that, but the dude broke the glass, and the glass didn't like shatter completely.
I was
There
worried
like a
about his
big
hand
hole.
cutting too.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Well, did you guys-
just stick his
so-
hand and cut his hand?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw some love at that CHGO
Mhm.
or whatever
CHGO.
because they had their fire podcast and they had the guy on who's kind of the
Glass
new
House?
head of. No, not Glass House. Well,
Okay.
Glass House was a guest actually. It was
Recently.
CHGO.
Well, shout out to Glass House.
Yeah, shout out to Glass House. So, they actually brought on the guy who's head of like game day experience.
That's
Oh,
cool.
for the Chicago Fire.
CHGO does some cool things.
And so like that guy was like, he's kind of like, what were you most proud of? The guy was like, do you know the kind of hoops I had to jump through to get fire, to actually have fire inside the city limits of Chicago? Like,
Oh,
'cause
scream
that was-
fire!
yeah, like actual shooting fire,
Oh,
those
yeah,
stars.
yeah, yeah.
Pulling a fire
That was
alarm.
so cool.
Like that
Hey.
in itself is like. That's
But
wild.
anyway, he said that glass was sugar glass.
Yes.
Like,
Okay.
the
Yeah, had to
Hollywood
be.
Okay,
stuff.
okay.
He
Had to
didn't
be.
That
cut-
has to be. Well, here's
They
the
thought about
funny
that.
thing. Here's the funny thing. I think Zippo, the lighter people, are actually in charge. Like they sponsor that tradition or they're part of it.
Oh,
Which
that's
is
so
funny.
cool.
Zippo's
That's awesome.
involved.
Yeah, Zippo's involved.
If they put out a Chicago Fire Zippo, I'll take a peek.
It almost
Dude,
feels
that's
like
your front of shirt. That's your front of kit sponsor right there. That's
Yeah,
one
that
I
should
can
be-
get
that should-
behind.
yeah,
Zippo.
Zippo.
Zippo
Yeah.
would be so sick. Zippo.
that will be a
Right?
good. That will be a good sponsor. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what are the
Right
best?
you
next
know
to
what?
Portillo's.
I want the Chicago Fire to be the first team in history sponsored by either a dispensary and or like weed brand. That would be awesome.
Dude, zigzags
Oh.
right across the front.
Zigzag,
Oh, man.
yes.
Oh my gosh, Chicago Fire, go get zigzags right
Backwards.
across. It would be. I guarantee you, it would be the most sold jersey
Oh,
in MLS.
around the
Literally,
globe.
who
Oh, yeah,
would
all
want
the
a jersey
soldiers
that
will get
says
that, yeah.
zigzags? Give it to me.
I mean, it would be world famous instantly.
It's like
Yeah.
it's basically a peace shirt. It's like, hey,
And this is
Peace,
how you're gonna get the Chicago Fire front office rated by the rated by the government.
no, that's the
but
Bears, and that's Bears
I will
last
say
season.
this. I feel like that guy achieved. Like I feel like it was more fun of an experience. They actually did more to where you knew what was going on. Like let's not pretend that some of the games I've been to, I was a much younger man, so I was much more inebriated. But still, it was kind of like, what
Yeah.
just happened? What's going on? Where are we supposed to be? And it's just like all that. But now, like it was a better experience, man.
It was way better. To be
Yeah,
honest,
they-
I saw some people calling it out saying, "Oh, it's so corporate," and I'm like, I get that because it was corporate mandated across all of MLS, and we saw everybody's attempt. But the Fire's attempt was not only maybe one of the best MLS guys. They're pulling a fire alarm.
There you go.
Join me
The only
on
time-
this.
the
This is like
only time-
madness. That's so
The only
crazy.
time, the
but
only
cool.
time that is actually legal to pull a fire alarm.
Think about that. It's mind blowing. And it's for the
Dude.
Chicago Fire. I think it's
Even
appropriate.
though-
I think it's amazing. And I think they got to continue it.
Even though the alarm sounded like it's a nuclear bomb shelter alarm,
It did.
it sounded a little bit like that.
I'm for it. I'm pro.
Okay.
I'm pro.
You know, if they
I-
get Lil Wayne to do it,
oh God.
God, man.
It'll be fun to see who they get.
fireman. He's got the fireman.
Well,
wait for somebody
you know
to
what
punch
they
through
need?
it.
They need Skilling. He just retired.
They get Skilling. They used
Oh,
Little
yeah.
Weezy's Fireman as the backup song for it. It was awesome, guys. It was awesome. I got the
Uh-oh.
recording. I'll put it here somewhere in the thing. But
I will say
we got 1 minute before
how well this game sold.
We got 1 minute.
I was impressed by how big the crowd was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was impressed, because I was thinking about bringing my parents to a game this year, and I'm like, shit, my dad was 40 when I was born, so they're older, and I'm like, nah, I can't do that.
Guys, it set a record. It was one of the most attended home openers since
it's like 27,000, I think. Yeah. 27,000.
It was
But you know what? Going back to the tradition part, I like ours. I thought the one for New England was kind of weird. And awkward.
It was so awkward.
It was so bad. It was almost like, did you do this so bad so you would get clowned?
I love their idea. They're like, we're gonna throw. Let's come back to it. We'll come right back around from the sponsors. But we'll talk New England. We're gonna talk MLS. We're gonna talk Messi and refs coming right around the break. Thanks for hanging out here on Enemies of the Fire. Make sure you guys kick that like button, punt it like you're the goalkeeper, or shoot it like you're the striker. One of the two. Find it somewhere down there.
All right, welcome back to the Enemies of the Fire podcast. Now we'll look at all things Major League Soccer. And gentlemen, what was the best thing you saw this weekend?
The
box.
best,
The box.
box.
New
The
England's
box is the New England game.
Box is
Like-
usually the best thing I see too. But
Well,
what?
well, what was the purpose of that?
What?
I seen the guy grab the box, had Toronto FC taped over it, and he just chucks it on the field and nothing happens. Like, what's going on here?
It was representative of the Boston Tea Party.
Yeah,
That was so
I heard a couple better ideas. I heard
they could have thrown it in the pool, like somebody said.
Yeah, somebody said you
Yeah,
could
an
throw it in a
inflatable
pool.
pool.
I said you could have just taken a can of Arizona iced tea, a ceremonial one, like just like bring it from somewhere sacred, like pretend like it's the can of like Arizona iced tea. Bring it, give it to the person. They crack it, they pour it over the side right on a Don Garber's photo.
But you know what? But you know what? The tradition looks so cheap. Like, I wouldn't expect any less from Robert Kraft.
It should have exploded. It should have exploded into fireworks or something. Like,
Yeah,
I love the theoretical concept of New England being like, yeah, our thing's gonna be we're gonna throw the tea, and I'm like, but that was the weakest.
But it wasn't. You know what? The thing looked like a cardboard box. It was just like a cardboard
It was
box.
a cardboard box. That's
It
what
was like even. Like, they didn't even
should've
have
been
a
a
cardboard
wooden
box.
box.
It was
should've
Betty
been like a
Sue's. She just moved here from North Boston, and they borrowed hers, and she's got a job in HR, and it was her box. They taped it up with some nice little paper, and
my
boom,
God.
they called
You know
it
what?
a day.
Listen,
Nobody
they could
could've
have so
gone-
easily.
They put some
just had,
Sharpie
like-
on it. The
They
Sharpie
could have
on
gone
it.
to Hobby Lobby.
The Sharpie on it said tea.
They could have got a crate box from Hobby Lobby.
Right.
And just like loosen it up a little bit so when you threw it, it just breaks
Dude,
apart.
Legos! Dude, like a fucking box of Legos, and just toss the Legos, and boom,
my
it
God.
shatters.
I'm telling you, not even none of that. All you gotta do is just put like a little wooden thing that looks like a wave or two, and then shoot 2 fireworks up out of it after they push it over and behind it,
You know what?
right? Like, just
If they
Guys,
wanted to keep it real, they should have just like either record at the Boston Harbor, chucking the box into the ocean, and just have the fan there like, hey, look, the new tradition. We're at the Boston Harbor. Here you go.
a box.
oh,
But the whole
record all
thing-
17 of them in one day too.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
And yeah,
Here's
that'd
the
be
thing.
great. That would be great.
That whole tradition just felt awkward. It felt weird. It's like, oh yeah, you just threw a box that has a Toronto FC sticker on it. Wow,
Well,
that's
did they make it so crappy that they knew they were gonna get flamed and like all press is good press?
I don't think so. Viewers,
And you know what?
by
And
the
you know
way,
what's funny?
viewers, I want to challenge the viewers. If you can think of something better, put it into the comments. We're going to be happy and excited to read them off. If you guys got
And you
any
know what's
fun
funny?
ideas for New England and how to improve their tossing of the tea.
And the worst part about it is that they end up losing to Toronto 1-0 at home.
Oh, it's so deflating.
Oh, that
it's
was
just-
an amazing goal though by Insigne. That
but
was
it's
pretty good. You know, he's not too terrible at soccer. You know,
I
Yeah,
guess
they-
you stopped bitching about the league then, huh?
Maybe they figured it out this year.
No, man, that guy was complaining about the team, about the league last year. I'm even surprised he decided to show up and play. Like,
hell,
I
you know,
guess
people like think about you, like you know, like oh, I hate my job this week and I hate everyone and don't talk to me and you're a jerk to all your coworkers and then it's like, it's fine next week, everything's cool, whatever.
no, I
You know
actually
what I
like my
mean?
job.
There's no Champions League here.
I
Boys,
actually like my job.
boys, the refs have been kind of a ongoing theme in MLS this past couple weeks. What the heck is going on there?
So
I mean,
I
the replacement refs, I don't think are that much more that they're not that much worse than you would think, but like because they're still trying. But
well, here's the thing though, is that with the strike going on, with Nelson Rodriguez actually complimenting the replacement refs, and at the same time telling the striking refs like, "Hey, this is our deal. Take it or leave it." So if you really think about it, we're not really. There's no improvement. There's no change. We're still like average, crappy refs. Like that's it.
Well, I think there is an obvious drop off, but not like catastrophic.
That's what's surprising. Like some games have been fine. Some games have been not. I see we got a guest here potentially.
Yeah, so hold on.
I don't know if they're in here.
Let's finish up this segment real quick before
he's still loading. He's still loading.
All right, if he's still loading, but he could definitely comment on this. I mean, it's a national thing going on here with the referees.
Very true.
He's still muted. MLS. He's still loaded. He'll join eventually.
Still loading.
I feel like the biggest problem is not like what I said could be construed as a little bit like pro league in this situation, and it's not. I'm just surprised it's not a catastrophe. That doesn't mean I'm in support of it, right? Like I do feel like this league and Nelson Rodriguez, the basically Baba Yaga of America soccer, is like he like I feel like they're not negotiating in good faith, which is bullshit.
Man,
because these refs deserve good contracts. Like we can't have a league a league with this kind of momentum and growth that we want to keep having devolve into match fixing madness. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, not match fixing madness. No,
it's like it's always felt like that as a Fire fan that it seems like every ref was out to get us. We never had decisions go our way sometimes, or most of the time. So
I feel like that changed now that we're bad. I feel like we get some penalty calls.
Now we get penalty calls. Now we get VAR. I guess the league feels sorry for us.
That penalty call we got on Saturday.
I didn't even know what was happening, man.
I seen the ref freaking check his ears and said, you know what?
That's when I told you, DPG, I was like, this might be entertainment.
Connor.
We got the national perspective here with the defending champion fan. Connor knows footy. You can check him out on YouTube. Connor.
Holy crap! You got Charlie Brown as a special guest.
Oh my God! Man. I see what you're talking about. It's the top of the kit. It has the Charlie Brown-esque.
It looks It's such a Charlie Brown shirt. I mean, it's not bad.
It looks sick though.
So, Connor, before we get into any talk about the crew,
we're going to save that for next segment. We're going to save that for next segment. We're right now we're in the middle of MLS business.
Yeah, we're talking the ref situation. So
come on, throw in your 2 cents, buddy.
Wait, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you, buddy.
Are you muted?
Fix your mic.
You might have to set your settings. All right, don't worry, I can cut it.
That's all right. We'll cut that. Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. He'll be back.
He'll be back.
I'm excited.
So I guess we have to just mention Messi real quick.
Well,
I don't want to hear it, man. I don't want to hear him about Messi. Why is everybody talking about Messi? Messi this, Messi that. Look, man.
So we can put the hashtag.
I only support one team, and that's it. If it doesn't pertain to this team, I don't care. All right, I don't care about Messi, man. You can have Pele playing. I wouldn't care. All right, in my eyes, that's the enemy.
Dude, Messi is my captain, and he's already gained 1 million in fantasy bucks. Start off at 10 million, he's up to 11 million.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what? I know where this is going. I get it. Yeah, Miami beat Orlando 5-0. Boo-hoo. It's cool. Yeah, Messi was part of it. Cool. Sharkman was part of it too. Cool. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on Messi. Now I'm gonna keep saying the same thing when you guys keep bringing up Messi. I really don't care for him. It's more annoying.
But why? Why don't you care for him? Is it just because he's the greatest, and he's not on our team, and there's some sort of thing there?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, man. Because you know what? The thing is, I don't like the hype surrounding him. Like, this league shouldn't just be, oh yeah, Messi's playing there. That's it. It shouldn't be that
the Messi channel. You're right.
I don't want to. It shouldn't be like that, man.
You're right.
It's like it makes the other MLS teams look like idiots. Look like, okay, there's Miami and then there's everybody else. Like,
it is though. It is that way because of this. You're right.
We're like the green team that faces off against the Globetrotters. That's what it is. We're like that team that
the Washington Generals.
Yeah. So The MLS teams are like that. They're like the other team that faces off against the Globetrotters when Messi comes to town. So I don't like that aspect of it. If you look around the league, man, you don't see the NBA hyping up. You definitely didn't see the NBA hyping up Jordan when the Bulls were winning. You didn't see the
Of course
NBA
they did. They hyped up like LeBron when he first joined the league, like the first game of this and that. They hyped people up.
The NBA was at its height when the
But here's
Jordan
the thing:
years.
you wouldn't see the Lakers advertising. Oh, by the way, LeBron's gonna play against Kobe. It was more or less Kobe's gonna dominate against LeBron. Come watch Kobe beat up on the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No. They would no. When Kobe took on LeBron, that's a marquee matchup. You better believe they're telling the whole league about that one. See, it's like a league magnet.
It was a prime channel, but it wasn't like this thing where they're gonna get a whole bunch of LeBron James fans into the Lakers stadium. In fact,
no, you're right about that.
Well, that was a different time, man. When they had the NBA and the ABA, I'm sure they did some stuff like that. Major League Soccer is still 30 years old.
You know what's annoying? 30. You know what's annoying is if like the Fire were to play Miami and then more than half the stadium is all Miami fans or people wearing Messi jerseys. That is annoying.
I still feel like it's not annoying because I'll say this, that we lived through that. Like when James and I went to the Miami game last season, the whole stadium was in pink jerseys, but yet they cheered for the Fire.
They did.
That's the problem, bro. That's the problem. Like, why would you buy a Messi jersey and come cheer for the Fire?
Because it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Like, we weren't alive for Maradona or
I got a Beckham jersey. I got a Beckham jersey from LA Galaxy when he came. I cannot lie.
Graduating high school is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, too. So, it shouldn't be we're emphasizing Messi in this league. It shouldn't be that way.
I think you just don't like fun, DPG.
No,
I'm like just a lot of goals, do you?
I'm just a purist. Right? I'm not gonna cheer for some other guy.
You're a home team purist. That's what you are.
Yeah. Listen, if the fans aren't fighting in the parking lot with bottles and chains, man, it's not real soccer.
Well, look, man, if they're not fighting on Twitter, if they're not fighting on Discord,
1 minute on the clock. 1 minute.
Connor, say something, brother.
He's thinking about he's thinking about his
settings. Hit us with the thinker. Hey, say something.
He's debating about calling help desk.
Get the nerd squad.
Speaking of calling the help desk, we'll catch you guys on the other side. Punt that like button. We're going to be coming back. We're going to be talking about Columbus Crew, national perspective, goals galore, Cucho Hernandez, and Chicago Fire. And a little bit more. Kick that like button.
Hey guys, this is DPG, and you are listening to the Enemies of the Fire podcast. James, Mitch, and I started this podcast to talk about our favorite soccer club, which is the Chicago Fire. Thanks again for listening. Hope you hit the subscribe button, and go Fire.
All right, welcome back to the Enemies of the Fire podcast. And with us today, we have a very special guest. We have Connor Knows Soccer. How you doing, bud? What's going on?
Doing good.
There's a little bit of internet connectivity issues.
Yeah,
but it sounds like you're doing good, brother. you got to get faster internet out in Ohio, or is it Carolina these days?
Oh man, you know what? I know what it is. He's taking internet from Starbucks. That's what it is.
It's Carolina right now. For some reason, everything's just a little laggy. So hopefully, once we get into permanent residence, that changes.
Well, so before we get into why you're in such a good mood tonight, we were talking MLS stuff. Well, we didn't even talk about the snow game. What did you see this weekend that you enjoyed?
So what I enjoyed this weekend, I enjoyed a couple things. First off, I enjoyed the snow game because anytime it comes out, that means it's going to be a fun fuck whatever Snow has to say. Fuck that guy, you can go kick rocks. And then I just enjoyed Miami thrashing Orlando. Anytime Orlando ass whoop like that, it's a good time.
I'm with you. We're pro Messi around here, except for DPG.
Except for DPG.
Told you guys, stop bringing up that guy, bro. We're not
Dude.
advertising for Messi here, okay?
Dude, so I got a question for you, Connor. Like, what's it feel like to be the champion of MLS? Everybody's chasing you guys right now.
Right now, it feels good. You know, we it seems like we picked up where we left off last year, with, hoisting the cup at home in the pouring rain. And we won't talk about the Minnesota game. We won't talk about there. But I think we have to take what we did tonight, which we'll talk about later on, and what we did week 1 against Atlanta, and build off of that. Because we can only get stronger from here.
So do you feel like the team is just as good as it was last year when it won the title, or?
Oh, 100%. 100%. We really didn't have any key exits. We had a lot of the main guys stayed, and we had a solid free agent. We had Derek Jones come in.
Derek Jones?
Charlotte.
You got Rossi too, right?
Well, yeah, they had Rossi last year.
We had Rossi last year. We got Rossi in August. Derek Jones, the center mid, center back hybrid from Charlotte, got him on a free agent. We signed Hagen, the Guatemalan #1 goalkeeper, to be Schulte's backup.
Wait a second. You have the Guatemalan #1 as your MLS backup?
That's a good goalkeeper, actually.
That's wild.
Nick Hagen. Signed him a 1-year deal with a club option for 2025. And then the signing that everybody was excited for and that everybody got to see a little bit tonight is Marina Hinstrosa from Puebla. U22 initiative signing. Just adds another Colombian to the team. What I saw, fantastic. He can dribble around defenders and make it look. I just want to see him get a full 90 minutes with Cucho and Rossi right beside him, because I think that front three can do some damage as we get deeper into the MLS season.
Connor, this team is kind of ridiculous. Like, we're dealing with like the excitement of bringing in Hugo Kuipers, and you got like you got some actual people on your team. Like, I feel like Chicago Fire should be switched with Columbus in some weird topsy-turvy world, because honestly, you guys have some of the best players in MLS. What is going on there?
I think it all just comes down to, at the end of the day, who our general manager is, Ken Besincheco. The dude knows how to win. I mean, look what he did with Toronto in 2016 and 2017.
I was actually going to mention that. I was going to mention that. Yeah. So this guy, the GM for Columbus, he pretty much built that Toronto team that was like constantly going to the finals. It's crazy. And I don't even know how Columbus convinced this guy to come from, Toronto to Columbus. Like, that should have been the guy that the Fire should have gotten. But
so wait, if you hire good people, they do good things. It blows my mind.
I mean, we could do better. We could instead of trying to do the same thing over and over again, maybe we could switch it up a little bit. Just saying, Joe.
That's wild. Connor, so you've been sitting in this position where your team's the best in MLS. So we're wondering, I mean, we're not the best in MLS, but how are you feeling about MLS as a whole, as a product? And we're talking beyond just Messi. We're talking the future. We have the World Cup coming up. How are you feeling about the future of MLS?
So unlike you guys, I didn't touch in the league 2021, so they blew that aspect. But when I look at the overall product as a whole, I think from just in the short amount I've been watching from 2021 to this season, I think the product has jumped exponentially. We've seen young stars, guys like Georgi Petrovic from New England, who went on to Chelsea. Thiago Almada, who's probably going to be sold this summer. Joe in Columbus. Guys like
Wait,
Aiden
say
Morris
who
on
in
the
Columbus? Who in Columbus? Joe?
team. No, Cucho, the $10
Cucho.
million
Yeah.
signing.
You forgot to
internet faded.
you forgot to add Brian Gutierrez to that list.
Brian Guti from the Fire. I think you're onto something here, though, because, I mean, I've been watching MLS since 1998, and the jump from when Beckham joined was tremendous, and we always called it MLS 2.0 and stuff like that, and the jump from after Beckham was MLS 3.0. I feel like we went through 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, 7.0 really quickly. And all of a sudden, we are at this new level of MLS where the top of MLS can compete with the best of Liga MX. It can compete with maybe the top or the middle tier of English second league. I'm talking the championship. And MLS is just elevated to a point where it's brought the whole. I'm sorry, go on. Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Well, I was gonna say, keep in mind, 20 years ago, no, not even that, 24 years ago, this league was literally made up of a bunch of college kids and maybe one DP, maybe a few foreign players, and that's it. And the style of play was horrible. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, it was a lot of Route 1 soccer, a lot of bouncing the ball in the air back and forth, man. It was ugly.
It looked like, a lot of like D1 soccer. It almost looked like D1 soccer. And to a certain extent, it also looked like a minor league. Like we feel about the USL.
If you look now, the one thing that's like glaringly obvious and everyone knows is Major League Soccer teams number 1 through 11 can compete probably with a lot of the big 5 leagues. The problem is where things start falling apart is as soon as you get on that bench, because there's no money in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what we all know, that that Major League Soccer is on a huge trajectory and they need to just take the governor off and just spend. So because like Liga MX will always beat MLS.
What are you saying, Connor?
Can I intervene on Toke's point?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't want to get deep into this because the roster rules are a mess and they should have been done away with years ago. But when you look at a team like, just getting through our team, Arsenal, for example, they got millions of dollars sitting on that bench. They got guys like Trossard, Eddie Nketiah, Aaron Ramsdale. I'm running out of names.
Yeah, but they got money.
You know,
they're getting money. They're getting Champions League money.
Just say money.
Go on.
Yeah, they got quality players on that bench.
So to get to my point is, I think if you take the training wheels off and you give owners, because there's owners in this league, i.e. Columbus, Chicago, New York,
Atlanta,
maybe,
Minnesota even, you're right. FC Cincinnati.
There are owners in the league who are willing to spend money. They just can't spend the big bucks because they're stuck under these bullshit roster rules that are 25 years out of fucking date.
Yes.
Well, here, let me add on to that, though. If, let's say tomorrow MLS says, you know what, to the owners, you know what, you guys are on your own. Just here's the roster rules. We're going to do something similar to Europe where you can't have more than 5 foreigners, whatever rule there is, but everything else, payroll, that's all on you guys. Would the landscape, and I'm sure the landscape will change for Chicago quick, because we have an owner that wants to spend money. Like, you know, not every team could afford to spend $14 million on an unproven striker, so to speak. So would the landscape change for Columbus? Like, would Columbus be as competitive if MLS just said, you guys are on your own? Would the owner of Columbus be willing to spend more money?
I think so. The Haslam and the Edwards family are rich. They own the Crew and the Browns. I mean, without getting into the specifics, they spent $300 million on Deshaun Watson.
Wow, so they own
but
2
without
football
getting-
teams.
So because my thinking is like the only thing I think the only teams that are afraid to go through that step of the owners just being in charge of everything are small market teams. We're talking about your Colorados. We're even talking about New England.
Successful in this model. I think to your point, who gets hurt the most would be New England, would be Kansas
Colorado.
City,
San Jose.
and San Jose.
San Jose.
No, but San Jose is not always good. Think about who's like always good
Kansas City.
in this system. Kansas City is going to get hurt the worst out of any team, and then you're like, let's see who else is probably going to get hurt.
Real
Like
Salt
New
Lake
England
is going to get hurt.
Yeah, but guys, should we really be that sympathetic for a team like Kansas City when they got the Chiefs in town?
I mean, again, Kansas City's had some cool teams, man. I remember being psyched about Dom Dwyer and Teal Bunbury and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
They had one good season. They had one good season, and you're hyping it up.
Dude,
That's
I
it.
lived through Brian Ching on the U.S. men's national team. Of course, I was hyped about Dom Dwyer and Teal Bunbury, dog. Come on.
Here's the downside to some. If MLS were to say we're stripping the roster rules, so you have to have so many academy players, so many foreign players, so many young players, what will end up happening with something like that? Who are your main players going to go to? Gravitate you towards the New York teams. They're going to gravitate towards the LA teams and Portland to an extent. Because I think when it comes to playing for a club, you have to put the city that it's located in and the lifestyle surrounding that city as a factor.
That's a point.
Even though,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
LeBron played
Because-
in Cleveland
That's
twice.
because he grew up in Ohio. He grew up in Ohio.
But still,
But like, let's put it like this: if the fire, let's say that happens, let's say the fire in Columbus are after the same player. Do you think that guy's gonna want to go to Columbus or Chicago?
He went to Columbus. Cucho Hernandez went to Columbus.
Cucho Hernandez went to Columbus because they shoved the money. But let's say you take out the training wheels. You
DPG,
take
they
out
were the
restrict-
better program from top
Yeah,
to
you're
bottom.
right.
That's what's
You take
wild.
out the restrictions. You take out the restrictions. Let's say,
you know what happened?
go ahead.
Who was Cucho's debut game against?
Was it the Fire?
Oh, screw you, man. You didn't have to bring that up, man.
How many goals did he score that game?
1.
Don't even bring it up.
Who remembers?
They
Who
won.
remembers?
They won.
Touche. But all I'm saying is, like you were mentioning, yeah, you're right. Certain players are going to gravitate towards Miami. They're going to gravitate towards LA. They're going to gravitate towards New York. And everybody else is just going to get whoever couldn't make the cut for those 3 cities, whether it's Chicago, whether it's Columbus. And at that point, it's just a matter of who shells out the more money.
And speaking of shelling out the more money, we're going to be right back after a word from these messages. Kick that like button for Connor. Kick that like button for MLS. We'll catch you guys on the flip side of this. Thanks for hanging out here on Enemies of the Fire. Find that like button. I think it's over there.
Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys? It's FC Neo Tokyo here. And if you don't like this video, they said they were going to cut my food rations. I don't know how I can go down further for them one piece of bread. Please just like the video. All right, Enemies of the Fire, welcome back. We still have Connor here to talk a little bit more about the Columbus Crew and the Chicago Fire game coming up before we jump into some of our gripes about the past game. So, Connor, my biggest question is, how afraid is the Columbus media about Frank Klopas outcoaching Wilfred Nancy? Right, like they've got to be concerned. It's a very real possibility. Am I right?
No. Nobody's talking about Chicago right now. It's all about CONCACAF. So.
Jesus.
So we used to be rivals. So is there
We
no
call
more
them-
hatred on the yellow side, or is everybody like, it's the fuck it, hell is real?
Nah, it's easy 3-point team. That's what they're thinking about. See, look, he knows. This isn't like 10 years ago, 15 years ago when it was actually competitive. Now it's one-sided. Here and away.
So, No, I don't even consider Chicago rivals anymore. Once you guys are back in the top half of the East, I'll consider you rivals because you'll be up there with us. We won't be looking down on you every single year.
I don't
What
like the
happens
guy,
if
but he has a point.
He does have a point. Like, Chicago has been terrible, and they have Cincinnati, so why would they care?
Yeah.
And then St. Louis has Kansas City, so we're stuck. We gotta either try and start fights with Minnesota or just I don't know.
But
Indy
Minnesota's
11.
nice though. Indy 11. Yeah, we stooped down to that level where we have to fight with the USL teams.
Yeah, we'll fight Indy 11. Yeah,
I mean,
let's go.
You guys got Chicago House.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, lower league Chicago team.
Yeah, Jesus. What's next? Forward Madison too while you're at it?
I mean, they're always so stylish. I hate it. No, I'm kidding.
Connor, so let's look ahead at this Chicago Fire Columbus match. Obviously, I think you guys got our number. How are you guys coming into this game against Chicago Fire? I know you're not worried about it right now. You guys are worried about Mexican teams and other things going on.
What happened tonight, are you concerned now that you're not going to put out your best 11?
It just depends. I think we'll rotate again.
Yeah.
But we don't have the man who was a menace to your society the past couple years in Lucas Del Ryan anymore. So I don't know. It's hard to tell a few days out what Wilfred Nance is going to do on Saturday. But I would expect.
I would think he'll rotate because, hey, you got Houston coming in next week. Is it? I will assume that he will rotate, and especially if it's so early in the season in MLS. You could afford to drop maybe one or two games or a couple of points here and there. So if he comes out with a full squad, I will probably be a little afraid against see what happens against Houston in the return leg.
Can I blow your guys' mind for a second here? Because I'm I'm looking at the 2001 Columbus Crew team. Now, mind you, I believe the Chicago Fire kicked ass that season. However, I'm looking at the team for Columbus Crew. John Bush, Mike Clark, Robert Warshica, Freddie Garcia, Kyle Martino, John Harkis.
Here, let me add one. Brian Mazanoff.
Edson Buttle. What'd you say?
Brian Mazanoff.
Edson Buttle played for Columbus before going to L.A.?
And Brian McBride.
If you guys want your mind blown, take a look at that 2008 roster. The year we
that team was stacked.
Eastern Conference Championship.
Brian Mullins.
For our first cup.
Hold on. Brian Mullins, Robbie Rogers, Brad Davis? No, Gavin. What was the guy's name?
Guys, how come Chicago Fire never have these things? He's got all these new and old things that he could call back on. He's got 2023. He's got 2001. He's got 2008. Meanwhile, with Chicago Fire, we're like 98, 99, 2001.
2009 was a great team. John Thornton really... I mean, I'm pretty sure I've held a grudge this long. I hope I'm not wrong, but I think he's the one that screwed up the penalty.
I'm looking at this 2008 Columbus team, though. She got Guillermo Barros Chileto. You got Jason Gary, Pat Noonan.
Ali Moreno's on that team.
Brad Evans. Let's keep going.
That's who,
Frankie Hayduke, club legend.
Man, Frankie Hayduke is still hanging around Columbus on a skateboard, bro.
He's roommates with Connor. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're gonna see him walk out with a skateboard.
So Frankie is actually the crap. I can't think of his title
Vibes
now.
minister.
No, he's the fuck.
You better don't tell me he's a youth
brand
academy.
ambassador.
No.
The vibes administer makes sense.
So he goes around Columbus in a skateboard with a Columbus jersey.
Yes, his job is to go around and drink beers with fans
and hand out tickets.
You want to go to a Columbus game, little kid?
We actually have another influencer, one of those TikTok guys, the guy with the drawn-on mustache. I can't think of his name.
The guy with a drawn-on mustache.
Yeah, I don't know this
who
one.
this guy is, but that sounds awesome.
I want to know. I want to
Yeah,
know
you
who this
gotta
guy
forward
is.
us a link once you find out who this cat is. We gotta see this.
What is he?
So-
is he
Have you
Columbus
guys had a
front
home
office?
game yet this year?
What?
Have you guys had a home game yet this season?
Yeah, it was the game against Atlanta.
So what was your MLS mandated new tradition?
A couple years ago, it was the jackhammer. So like before every game, there's a block of cement with the opponent logo on it, and every time a goal is scored, you take the jackhammer and break off a piece of that cement block. And
Oh, that's
then
cool.
What they do is they write the game, the date, the minute, and the goal scorer, and then they put it on a wall in the player tunnel. So it's like on a wall. There's just probably 100 cement blocks with different names and different goals scored.
This is cool.
That is so cool.
That is cool.
I still like
And then-
Timbers a little bit better, where they do the
No.
like block of wood, but like you can't fuck with that. Like that's
Nah,
pretty cool.
Look, man. I don't know, man. This whole thing about cutting wood and shit and just giving it out, like that's
Too much like socialism for DBG.
No, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's just cool. You get a guy cutting wood. Here's the wood. That's it. Is anybody gonna sign it? Is anybody gonna like stamp it or something?
Yeah,
you know,
don't they like engrave? Don't they
Yes!
like do?
Right? Can't you do like some sort of like heat up the thing and just
Yeah,
like
yes, stamp. I mean, come on. At least it beats New England. At least
it
it beats
definitely
New
beats New
England.
England. And Columbus's tradition
can I-
sounds good. Go on, Con.
Yeah.
I tell you guys about another tradition that I actually like. So they started it last year. It's called the Match Igniter. So for every home game, they have like this brick wall set up, like this fake brick wall set up, like right in the middle of the supporter section. And like there's like sometimes it's former players, sometimes it's Ohio State players, sometimes it's former Ohio State players.
Well, that's
sometimes
sick.
but they bust through like this fake brick wall, and then like everybody cheers, and then for the kickoff countdown, they go like 3, 2. There's like this fake thing of TNT, like the old cartoony things.
Oh,
They go like 3, 2, 1, and then they put it down, and then there's an explosion, and then the kickoff.
that's
Hey,
actually
by
cool.
the way, Connor,
Columbus is ahead of the league.
are you away in college or something? Because you said you were in North Carolina, right?
No, I moved down here in August.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Connor is still a very young man. He traveled with family.
Yeah, he wanted to get away from Columbus. I don't blame him. So,
But when we're on the topic of MLS traditions,
Yes.
there's one that I really like, and it's fairly new. Charlotte FC's throne tradition.
No,
Like
what is
they-
it? I don't know anything about it.
So what they do, like if a player's named the man of the match, they have like a throne in the supporter section behind one of the goals, and they give them like a crown and a scepter, and they set him in that
that
crown.
Yeah,
we call that King of the Ring. Just to let
that's
you know,
awesome.
that's King of the Ring. You know, they stole that
Something.
idea.
I love it
know.
though. That's awesome.
And then, what's another tradition I'm trying to think of?
We got the fire where they knock down the glass. They pull
Yeah,
down the
now
fire
they break
alarm.
glass and hit the fire
I-
alarm. It's great.
I can't stand Cincinnati, but they're like King Arthur sword tradition's pretty cool.
Oh,
What do? They pull a sword from the stone?
what's the whole point of that? I mean, what the?
I don't
Well, I
know.
didn't.
Because
I didn't
it's
read.
lit.
I didn't read.
DPG, you hate fun.
Look, man. I don't. No. I don't remember reading about Cincinnati being in this Arthurian, story. I didn't.
How many
didn't-
bears
I
or
didn't-
bear cubs do you see running around Chicago these days?
I didn't
Yeah.
see Cincinnatus in the story.
When did King Arthur go to Cincinnati and pull out a sword?
I think
Like-
it's King Arthur. Am I
All right,
saying
hold
that
on,
right?
hold on. Let's get this back on the rails.
Yeah,
man.
Cincinnati's
I'm-
named after a famous Roman leader, by the way. Cincinnatus.
I did not
I
know
didn't
that. So I do have a serious question about the weekend. How does Columbus? What do you guys normally go for formation wise?
What do you do out in Columbus?
Where is the nightlife?
I'm just kidding.
Oh man,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's a college town. I bet it gets kind of lit.
It's gotta be.
you get Coney dogs or some shit like that, right?
That's Cincinnati.
No.
But so if you guys are ever in Cincinnati, the skyline, you got to try the spaghetti. It's delicious. And there's a couple locations in Columbus. Like they put
What?
like chili, beans, onions, and shredded cheese on spaghetti.
Really?
That sounds, like
Greatest thing ever.
that sounds like a bad time in the toilet, bro.
Yeah, I've
Like-
heard about this. The Skyline Chili. It's a
Yeah,
big deal.
ooh.
I think they have
You
a
know-
vegan version, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
God.
You're gonna pique Toad's interest.
Sold.
Yes, so now I can tear my stomach up too. Yes.
Sold.
I think.
Oh
I'm gonna have to
man,
double check that.
what's with Ohio and chili, man? It's
It's because it's good. What?
they put chili on everything. Put chili on a dog. Put chili on spaghetti.
What does Chicago do? Chicago puts salad on a hot dog,
Yeah, well,
and I
Yeah.
love it. I love
everything
it.
but
You got
ketchup.
your pizza.
Everything with ketchup. Yeah. Don't put that ketchup stuff on it. It's not gonna end well.
All right. Speaking of ketchup, let's take a quick break. Let's reformulate. Kick that like button for Connor, talking a little soccer here, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk some MLS. We're gonna really actually talk Columbus versus Chicago. And punt that like button. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome to Kicks and Gears, the ultimate soccer sale. I'm your host, Danny. Welcome, folks, to the one and only Kicks and Gears, the place where you don't just drive a dream, you live it. Today, we're not just selling cars, we're offering you the chance to own a piece of the American dreams team. Over here, the luxurious LA Galaxy, sleek, shiny, with a history of high performance, comes with 5 championship stars. It's like having a turbocharged engines for every decade. All right, not doing it for you? How about this? Over here. And here, the reliable Sporting Kansas City, known for their solid defense and loyal fan base. It's like the minivan of soccer teams. Not the flashiest, but it gets the job done. All right, maybe you need something more exotic. All right, back and to the left is Inter Miami. Check them out. The newest model on the block, baby. Designed by the one and only David Beckham. It's like owning a luxury sports car that everyone wants to take for a spin. Leo Messi, baby, in the engine. How's the mileage? The warranty? Okay, let's move on. How about the Seattle Sounders? Yes, the Sounders, a real people's choice with a strong fan base and back-to-back championships. It's like getting free maintenance for life. And as for mileage, well, let's just say there's plenty of gas left in that tank for a few more victories. Okay, all right. Something else for you. Maybe this is what you're after. Here, over here, the Chicago Fire, a classic, as we all know, but it's been a bit of a fixer-upper lately. Great potential for a project lover. So whether you're looking for luxury, reliability, or a fixer-upper, Kicks and Gears has got the team for you. And remember, when you buy an MLS team, you're not just buying wins. You're buying every thrilling moment on and off the pitch. Let's go! See you guys next time. Kick it like a Polaroid picture. Welcome back, everybody, to Enemies of the Fire. We're here to talk a little Columbus and Chicago Fire. We were talking off camera about what it's like being at an MLS match and a Chicago Fire match versus a Columbus match. Sometimes very different animals.
Yep.
Has anybody here been to a Fire Columbus game?
Yes.
In Columbus, no.
Here.
I've never done the Firehouse East thing, but
Oh, I've definitely been here. Or
I
season
def-
ticket
I-
holder. Let's go.
yeah, you're right. Before I was a season ticket holder, the first ever game I went to was against Columbus, and then I went to another one when they had Kai Kamara. But yeah, man, it was a cool vibe because we were still rivals back then, right? Things
Yeah.
were still, it was still very important and stuff. And man, we talked about this earlier, like kind of off camera. I'm so mad that everybody hates Soldier Field and wants to move somewhere else and all that stuff because I love it. But I did like Toyota Park. I did. I didn't hate it, but it was just so far for me to get there.
I think that Columbus has changed stadiums too recently.
Yeah, they did. They have a new
right?
stadium.
Twice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys twice? You guys moved out of the map for into something new? The place that caught on fire,
So-
right?
So I'm going to give you guys Sorry, I had to stand up. My ass.
Well, they
hurt.
had the first ever soccer-specific stadium.
They did. It's
Don't
now
forget.
historical Columbus Crew Stadium.
So, first stadium we played at in their first couple of seasons in the league was Ohio Stadium, which is where Ohio State plays.
Oh,
kinda cool.
And then in '99, Moffrey Stadium or Historic Crew Stadium, the first soccer specific stadium ever built in the United States, which the one that kind of set the trend. And then in 2021, we moved from Historic Crew Stadium to our brand new multi-billion-dollar home, Lord.com Field.
Wow.
how does the Nordeca appreciate the move? Is it just as rowdy? Is it just as cool, or what?
So I don't know if you've seen pictures or seen shots on TV, but I think on the north end of the stadium, they have a terrace. And it's
Yeah,
standing
because
room
they're
only.
higher up. They're not like
Yeah.
right on top of the
So,
goal.
No, it's standing room only, and it stands up to 1,000 people, and it's full every single game.
Nice.
As a short man, I hate the standing room only, but as far as vibes, it's all good, man.
You know what? So
This
the thing
place
is,
looks ridiculous, guys. This looks like a
Yeah, it's
real
not-
European stadium that you would find
So,
Now I
like
gotta
in
watch
Germany.
yeah, I gotta look at the stream now. Oh, it looks
So-
nice. But here's the thing: I don't know why people
so
hate.
scroll down.
Oh, see, hold on.
Scroll
There's
down.
the Nordeca to the left in that picture there.
no, so
And it's higher
that's a
up.
rendering. That's a
Yeah, because like,
rendering.
isn't the tunnel below them?
Okay, let's look at the real thing.
Isn't that why they're higher up?
Real. Let's look at real. I think this is
Okay,
it.
so right here where the camera is, like right there where you see those weird seats, that's the Nordeca. So it's like at an angle, but like from where the picture is taken, that's the Nordeca section.
Oh, so they still have bars though, like standing
Yeah,
bars.
yeah.
Okay.
Here, I think I can send a picture into the chat on my phone.
Yes.
Give me 1 second.
So I think the hate for Soldier Field is the fact that Soldier Field is a football stadium. You know.
Yeah, right.
It's used for soccer, but it's not like if you look at this, look how this stadium looks. This is like a legit. You can have Manchester
soccer
United
stadium.
play there.
You could,
Yeah, it's a
dude,
soccer stadium,
and they would feel comfortable.
and they'll feel comfortable. Exactly. The thing about Soldier Field is that it feels a little awkward. It wasn't designed as a soccer stadium, first off.
Man, if Bridgeview did something like this, they would have lasted.
Dude, they're still paying for the stuff that they built, so
Damn.
at this point, it sucks. I think by the time the Fire ever get a new stadium, they're still probably going to be paying for that Bridgeview Stadium.
Jesus.
It's not going to let me send a picture on my phone, but
That's all right,
the
man.
best idea.
I hate the idea of us playing where Sox Park is, but that's just because of where I live. You know what I mean? James probably loves it.
I don't want to do it. Sox
No.
Park.
Yeah, man. Nobody wants to ride the red line, bro, because that's what's going to end up happening.
I mean, the red line can get a little buck. I ain't gonna lie. I tend to try and avoid it.
So,
Really honest, I only really ever ride the blue line.
honestly, I know I'm going to sound a little selfish here, but if the Bears were to build a stadium in Arlington Heights and they asked the Fire to move into it too, I would actually enjoy that because that's not that far of a drive for me.
I would hate everything about life if that happened. I used to live out in fucking Streamwood. I could have gotten there instantly, man. I'm so happy they're close. I love Soldier Field. Connor, have you ever been blessed enough to come to the city of Chicago? And if so, Soldier Field.
The thing about Chicago is open carry legal in Illinois? I feel like I'll need it when I go to Chicago.
It's not. You need a FOID card. You need a FOID
You need a
card.
card. You need a conceal and carry, and you got to go to class for that. We're not like dumb rednecks that
No. Here's Connor flooding guns into Chicago from Indiana.
Here we go.
God
First thing
damn
is, Is it an open and carry? Like, whoa.
Whoa.
Nah, you won't. And typically you won't need that. I mean, in some places, I mean, it is a little sketch.
I mean, some places you might need the glizzy,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. First of all, this whole crime rate of Chicago, it's overblown.
Overblown.
Second of all, if you're not there to look for trouble, if you know the places to avoid and don't ask for trouble, you'll be fine.
Yep.
Just just respect others, do what you're doing, and don't be on your phone. And
yeah,
you're
looking down at your
mostly
phone.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, every now and again you're gonna run into some tweaker who's gonna just be a tweaker, but like, just don't be a target, man.
Don't be a target.
I mean, hot damn.
Like I've seen some people. You know where I live, it's like the crash of some hipstery and some like for real. And
That's
like
for real.
I'll look around and I'm just like, my God, I'm not a violent person, but I want to mug you. You are such a target right now. Like it's just wild. People just heading their phone, man.
So like if you're walking around with like a Gucci bag and you're flashing
and you're chasing down Pokemon on your phone like everywhere.
So
and you walk in the wrong neighborhood and you're like, whoa, where am I?
So I didn't mean to dive into this topic.
No, we're having fun with that.
I don't want to go different places with this, but to give you guys an idea of what it's like living in the South, there's a Baptist church everywhere. And I'm not even joking. And when you walk into a place like a Walmart, for example, there's always 2 or 3 people that are openly carrying because constitutional carry is legal down here. And that's just the way that it is down here. I'm surrounded by a bunch of fucking rednecks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? If you were to pull that in Chicago, walking with an open and carry, ooh.
So how was Columbus? Was that a little rough or not? Like, I know everywhere's got some bad neighborhood or whatever, but like, how was the vibe in Columbus?
So, I moved out of there when I was like young, like post birth surgery young. So, I didn't really grow up in Columbus because the town I grew up in was surrounded by 4 cornfields, and I went to school surrounded by 4 cornfields.
That's kind of like Chicago in some aspects. Like there's towns that would call themselves, I mean, if you go to the Blink-182 concert and they're like, hey, Chicago, even though if you're from the freaking cornfields, you're still going to be like, yeah.
That's how I was. But it's like...
That's the worst kind of Chicago one, by the way.
If I were to tell you the name of my town, of my childhood town, you'll be like, "What the fuck? Is that a real place?" But yeah, it's a real place. But obviously, I can't say it because I got family members who live.
Oh
in
yeah,
that
no, you don't have to say it. Well, all I'm saying is that's the worst kind of Chicago. And you're from like, McHenry and say, "Oh, yeah, go Chicago." Like, nah, bro, you from McHenry, man.
So one thing that I've always learned is when you grow up in a farm state like Ohio with a bunch of farm towns, you always say like you're from one of the big 3: Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati. The 3 C's is what I call it.
That makes sense because in Chicago we just have Illinois we just have Chicago. Like nobody counts Springfield.
Quote unquote Chicagoland stretches all the damn way to like a little bit before Rockford. To like, to
no, Chicagoland stretches out to like Kenosha.
And Joliet and stuff. Like it's just Chicagoland. Like it is what it is. We made that joke a while ago about being Naperville strong.
You know what? I think they actually said that Chicagoland is like the second largest like metropolitan area in the country after LA. Like we're bigger than New York.
Like as a full area, because New York, everybody's actually in the city limits.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel you on that. I don't know. It depends on how you count that, but like. It's nice, man. I like that. I like the big metropolitan setting. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know what we were supposed to talk soccer. We're just completely.
I know. We're thinking about the mountains of North Carolina. Us out here.
Yeah. we went from like talking about Soldier Field to like open and carry. Apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys.
Oh,
What I'm going
God.
to do is I'm going to take a quick pause. We'll for station identification, which is enemies of the fire. We'll catch you guys on the flip side, and we're actually going to talk fire versus crew. 3, 2, 1. See you on the flip side.
What's up, everybody? I am FC Neo Tokyo, and you are listening to Enemies of the Fire. It's me and there's like this one guy. Who's the other guy? I don't know, but it's amazing. I'm great in it. Thanks.
Boom.
So I was just gonna say before I drop out of here, before I stir on some other random ass topic, I will never forget the day where 2022 we were talking about the World Cup, and I said Haji Wright is going to be on this roster, and guess what? Motherfucker's on the goddamn roster. I will.
Andy scored an amazing goal, by the way.
I will wear that as a badge of honor till the day I fucking die. And then, because all three of you were like, Haji, right the fuck? And like, DPG said,
yeah.
no. DPG said, brother said, the mental capacity do you have to watch the Turkish league?
No, wait, was that when I asked if you were? No, hold on. Was that when he was talking about it, and he was like, "Oh, I've been watching the Turkish league," and I was like, "Are you okay?"
Oh man.
Oh shit, we gotta find that clip now.
Oh man. That's legendary right there, guys. That's legendary. That's. Ooh,
All right,
Turkish.
Connor. That's legendary status. Hopefully, we'll catch you next week with a little recap where we beat your ass.
I hope so. Thank you for coming on too, by the way, man.
Thank you.
I'm free pretty much up until Thursday, so whenever you guys want to hop on, just let me know.
Okay.
Because I got to work starting on Wednesday, early ass o'clock. So
yeah, you gotta work that farm, right? You gotta work the farm.
All right, brother. Thanks for joining us here, Connor.
Thanks,
shout
Connor.
out to your channel real quick.
Yeah. Pimp your channel.
So, Connor Knows Soccer's back from the dead. The old channel got hacked, and it's back from the dead right now. I'm trying to do crew focus stuff. Hopefully, branch out to different stuff in the future. So yeah, it's there. Twitter's the same. It's at Connor Knows Footy. I talk about anything and everything soccer on there, mostly crew. You'll see me in crew discussions. You'll see me calling out other fans bullshit. Sometimes I'll talk about Arsenal. I'll talk about whatever else soccer related shit comes to my mind. And I think it's pretty cool because a lot of people within the crew community are starting to know my name and this lovely face you guys see here. I don't know if I should take that as a blessing or a curse, but I'm going to take it either way. But yeah, thank you guys for letting me on. It was good talking, I guess, screen to screen or face to face.
Yeah.
Again, I do have one big announcement that I wanted to share here. So starting in May, hopefully May, whenever I get into the new house and have like a desktop setup, like a real setup.
Ooh, DPG knows about that.
I'm starting a podcast on the channel called On the Touchline. So what On the Touchline is going to be is I'm hoping to make it a semi-weekly, if not weekly podcast where I reach out and talk to other soccer creators, European soccer creators, MLS creators, and really dive into the sport of soccer that we all know and love. Maybe I have a few British guests. Hopefully they join. They're good dudes. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't asked this guy yet, but I'm going to have to ask him, a familiar face and a good friend of mine.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
U.S. men's national team vlogger Ryan Fortune. I'm going to have to message him and see if he would like something to do with that. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to either be bi-weekly or weekly. I haven't really decided yet, but good things coming when I don't have to work. So
sounds exciting, actually.
We'll be on the lookout.
All
right, Connor.
Thanks, Connor.
Yep,
Thank
you guys. Have a good one.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Adios.
That was Connor Knows Soccer.
That's a great idea, by the way.
Yeah.
We'll catch you guys on the flip side right after these messages.
What's going on, everybody? You are embracing the darkness with Enemies of the Fire. Thank you.
All right, guys, we got to go. But before we do, let's talk some fire.
Yeah, kind of the point of the podcast. Let's get to it.
Guys, Kuipers. Are you guys out on Kuipers 2 games into the season?
He needs help.
He definitely needs help.
I think if you Kuipers works better from what we've seen in stats as a two-man striker team. If he's by himself, you could tell the guy's working his ass off, but he can't make magic happen.
Mm-hmm.
He could if he had better play.
Yeah, better play, and the service wasn't all that great either.
Who would you rather take right now? Would you rather have Christian Benteke or Kuipers?
Oh, shut up. Of course you'd rather have Benteke.
Well,
that's a no-brainer.
Well, if you want to take,
tested.
well, I trap carded you guys. I trap carded you because if you are gonna take Christian Benteke, that means you have to take the bad with the good. And Christian Benteke did not score his first MLS goal until beyond his 5th MLS game. He started 4 MLS games.
Oh my God!
Substitute 5. He played 5 MLS games without nary a goal. His sixth MLS game, goals. And then ever since then, goals. So I want to say, if you want to rather have Christian Benteke, well then the first 6 games, no goals.
That's literally exactly what I was going to tell you was my stance. Was I have 5 games for Kuipers, and if nothing's happened yet, I'm going to freak the fuck out.
so now we're down to 3 games. So my thing about, first of all, our offense on Saturday was trash.
Oh my God! Everything
no shots,
was trash.
Nothing. Penalty kick was the only shot.
Yeah, our defense looks like it regressed. Our midfield is like probably the only thing that kept us afloat, but it wasn't by much. And of course, Kuipers up top. You know, the guy was trying to work his ass off with whatever service the midfielder, the defense was giving him. He couldn't do much.
He can't do anything if you give him the ball at the midfield.
No.
Especially with the back to goal at midfield. Like you can't do that. Dude, and all of this is Klopas's fault, in my opinion. Like, I hate 3 in the back, especially for this team. Like the players we have, that's not the formation. Yeah. And it's also the way to go.
You also went against the Cincinnati.
The big chalkboard he has.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, and this team that they went against, Cincinnati, are experts at that formation. And that was the first time that the Chicago Fire whipped out that formation in the last season and a half. So to go against Cincinnati, who is that good at that formation, and then I gotta say they did well. They did well to go against a team that's good at that, but they also didn't produce any offense. Nope. The penalty kick was a gift from God.
The VAR gods. You're right. Because I wasn't even screaming for a penalty. I was just like, whatever. And I'm thinking when the VAR stopped, I'm thinking, oh crap, who are they going to red card on our team? What the hell happened? What did I miss?
Here's the thing too. The 2 goals from Cincinnati were defensive errors. The first one was 100. A giveaway. The first one was a giveaway
from
on our back line from Chico's, unfortunately. And then the second one,
fire kit, by the way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think this was Chico's worst game since we've gotten him.
The second goal, nobody was there to block that low cross. Like, they literally let the ball
just... man, dude. Herbers is not an outside. Herbers and Selassie are not wing backs.
What did I tell you about Herbers? What did I say about Herbers at the beginning of the season? He is good when he comes off the bench, but if you keep him starting him, he's gonna turn into crap. So
I don't disagree, but God. But it's the formation, though. Nobody was put in a position to succeed on that team. The only person put in a position to succeed was Chris Brady. Like, hey, let's get your stats up for saves.
Yeah,
Chris Brady definitely had a good game. But on top of that, right about the 20th minute mark. I can't blame these guys. Right about the 20th minute mark, I'm looking at DPG, and then I'm looking at Chicos in the eyes, and I'm looking like he's looking at me. And like players are looking at me and players around the stadium because they're like, where's the fucking noise? Where's the fucking energy? It was the 20th minute and it got so quiet. And all of a sudden it's like you could just see every player on the field, Cincinnati's players, looking around. And Cincinnati's
I don't know
fans
about the rest of the stadium, but I don't
Cincinnati's
feel like
fans were going
quiet.
crazy. So you were in a section that was loud, but it was not
Very true.
But it was not evoking loudness from anywhere else. The two sections that had noise were the south end of the stadium, which is where you were at with Section 8 and Sector Latino, and then the north west section, which was the Cincinnati away fans. Those were the two loudest sections of the entire stadium. Everywhere else, it was like crickets. It was wild because it was. I'm literally looking at Chicos and he's like looking up at me, and I feel like we're in the same thought. Like,
You're having
where's
a
the
moment.
noise?
Yeah,
where's
you're having
the
a moment.
noise?
That
And
reminds me of like
that's when he gave away the ball.
And that's when he gave away the
And that's when he gave away the ball.
Well, I can't. I have to give this ball away.
Yeah. So,
Um,
so I think, you know what, the scary part about this is that for a guy like Klopas, you know, you would think the guy should know better on how to manage a team, considering that he's managed this team so many times. God knows, I don't even know how many times he's interned for this team.
Well, hold on. Think about it this. He's a man manager. Think how happy everyone is even when they're fucking terrible when Klopas coaches. Everybody's in a great mood. It doesn't matter how many games you lose. Everybody's happy. Everything's
He's a
going
man
great.
manager.
No. James and I, we actually saw when the players were getting subbed out. Shaqiri was pissed off.
Pissed.
Fabian Herbert was pissed off. Like, I think he punched the plexiglass.
He punched the plexiglass.
Well, were we down at that when he came off? I forget.
Yeah,
Yes, we were down 2-1.
Ah.
Yeah. So, you know, so I don't honestly. I think Klopas, like as everybody expected, he got out coached. But then I think he out coached himself.
So 2 games of the season, twice he's been out coached.
Yeah. So
I mean,
first of all, like,
it's hard to
first of
debate
all,
you on that.
we had how many months we had to find a new coach? We had 8 months to find a coach, and then just to settle on Klopas, and we're getting the same results. Was anybody ever expecting us to actually win? Like us to be at the top?
Stop shaking your head, you liar. This man was pro Klopas hard.
Yes, I'm pro Klopas before they went and spent $12 million on Kuipers and then another X millions on bringing in a guy, a stud like Acosta. Like before they brought in Frank Klopas was the perfect steward for this team. But then when you spend $14 million, something comes with that. And it's called expectations. Yeah. And Frank Klopas is not up to expectations. And that's why he was the perfect steward for this club before. But when you raised up the level, he is not good enough.
No.
And it's a shame. It's a tragedy because I love the man. He's one of the greatest cheerleaders you have back there. But that's what he is right now.
He's a player.
He's a glorified cheerleader. He's not necessarily the best tactician or game manager. He's a great man manager. We need someone in that can win games. Does that mean going to get Bruce Arena now because he's available and has signed no teams and he's no longer under whatever problems that he had from earlier from MLS?
Does a 75-year-old Bruce Arena come to Chicago?
No.
Yeah.
And also,
here's the thing.
no.
Here's the thing. I think the fact that there was a lot of money that was put on the table for Klopas to manage the team was a huge mistake.
Yes.
Because now you're in a situation of, first of all, you kind of have a fairly new team, so to speak, except for maybe the midfield when you add Acosta. But like You have a new striker.
New striker.
You have two new
You have a new
defenders.
engine in Acosta.
Yeah. So
Well, and that's another problem is because Gaston is terrible at soccer. They're like, well, he's more of the offensive center midfielder. And it's like, no, that
doesn't make any sense.
He's more
How
of the
can you say?
Yeah,
How is he more? How is he more of the more offensive DM? Like
they say he's more offensive than Acosta. I think that's completely.
then he's not. He's not a DM.
Acosta,
Yeah.
I think Navarro's got to start, and Acosta's got to be further forward than Navarro. Like the Gaston is just a black hole on this team. And then, like,
it's just
the worst thing that ever happened to us is he scored that banger in preseason.
Baby
look,
Herbert
man.
does more.
Look, we've been extending Gaston for so long. The guy's contract's probably not due to like 2032 at this point. So the thing too is like I don't have any hopes for Clopos. I didn't have any hopes for Clopos at the beginning of the season. I'm like, okay, great. We have a bunch of new players. It's probably going to be the same result. We're going to lose games. We're not going to have much of an offense. We bought a player that, according to stats, he scores when he's part of a two-man system.
But who's that second man? Because if it's Koutsias, I would be like, okay, cool, exciting.
Koutsias
But
got
if it's
some
Tom
pop.
Barlow,
Oh God, man! Well, you want to miss sitters again?
What is
Anyway.
with this? Do some fans have some sort of affection for Tom Barlow that I just do not
for some
understand?
reason they love Tom Barlow.
What do they love losers? Do they love sucking?
That's been my theory
I
forever. Cubs fans, Bulls fans, everybody hates the stars in Chicago, and they love the losers for some reason.
Makes
I don't
They
know.
like the
fucking
Randalls.
sense.
They like the Randalls for some reason. Like they had a thing for Elliot Collier. They had a. Now they're like, oh yeah, Tom Ball. Like, come on, guys. Let's stop with the BS already, man. I get it. You guys trying to make the guy feel good about playing for the Fire. I get it.
I get that.
But we want to win, and clearly we're not gonna win when we have players like that miss sitters. We have players that
When we
try
have
to
rec
be
league
like,
players.
try to be like Messi when they can't be like Messi.
So my crazy Pepe Sylvia board idea was that Mansueto said, screw it, we're sticking with Klopas because at the end of this season, Pep and Jose and a lot of coaches are going to be up for grabs, right?
Yeah.
And so that was my thought. Now, if it was possible, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that's what Joe thought.
So what you're saying is you'd be lucky to get Rafa Wiki back.
Well, and that's what I'm hearing is that, like, no, dummy, that's not the plan. The thing is, we offered the contract to 100,000 amazing coaches, and they all told us to go pound sand. So
that's the thing. And this is why I say you're not gonna get a good coach until you get rid of Heights. Because when you get rid of Heights, you have to bring a GM that's pretty much gonna have to look for a new coach.
A GM maybe Connors,
missing.
a GM like Connors' team that we were just talking
exactly.
to.
Keep that. Think about that. You get a GM like that, like the Columbus Crew GM or even the Atlanta GM. Now you have a guy that's going to be your mouthpiece. He's going to go out and talk to these coaches, and coaches that probably would have said no to Chicago all of a sudden say, you know what? Maybe we can work something out.
Oh, you're the future MLS commissioner? Maybe we can work something out.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't feel like Heights will ever be fired. If he does a bad enough job, they'll just promote him to another position in the sporting empire.
That's
Move
why
him to
it's so
Lugano.
mind-boggling. Yeah,
Make
that's why it's so
him head of
mind-boggling.
concession stands.
That is what is so mind-boggling about all this is that you give a guy so many years to try to get it together, and he has failed in all his attempts. And like instead of saying, you know what, guy, we need to take a different approach. Thank you for everything you've done, but we got to go a different direction. That's it. Not say, by the way, congratulations, we extended your contract.
Dude,
that's the worst approach.
I really
1
feel
minute
like
on the clock.
paper, if you put these players in a position to succeed, we're in the playoffs and maybe a first round home game, maybe, right? Like we're in the top 7 or 6 in Major League Soccer in the East, right?
Do you guys currently feel like this team is set up to make the playoffs right now? And that includes Frank Lopez.
The team has the talent. The team has the talent.
I'm talking about all together.
But Klopas, no.
Wow, no, so you say we have the talent.
If you got a coach that knows how to manage, that knows about tactics, more importantly, and I've seen it before. You've seen coaches where one coach gets fired, they bring in another guy, and somehow the team just starts clicking like crazy. This is one of those situations where if you get the right head coach, you bring him into a situation like this, he'll turn it around for you. He'll take them to the playoffs.
It's a talented team.
Yeah, we're not going to do
Marsh would rather be on a podcast than take over this project.
Yeah. Guys, this project, because he looks at this project and he listens to our podcast and he's like, and he's like, oh, these guys are right. I'm looking at what these guys have been calling the Chicago Fire for the last few years. They are a hodgepodge of collected materials of brick, wood, and metal, and various states of engines ranging from the archaic to the modern. Like, the whole situation, it's still stuck in the Stone Age because they have been incrementally improving, while MLS, the rest of MLS is like, oh,
taking leaps and bounds.
You know what?
Improve.
I'm getting rid of my Fiat and I'm getting myself a Mercedes. And Chicago Fire is like, how far can we take this Fiat? If we put a Mercedes
how
engine...
many miles can we put on our Honda Civic?
If we put a Mercedes engine in it, and we get BMW wheels, and we put a foil on it from a Subaru Impreza, and then we also put a moonroof from a... from
you got it wrong. How far we can take this Fiat with 3 wheels?
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Bean's car. It's freaking Mr. Bean's car. And there's the 3-wheel car that he just always hits. Boom.
The fact is that if the rumors are correct and the Fire were asking everybody to be a head coach, that comes to show how like other coaches view our team. More importantly, how the look. I don't know whether it's because of heights.
It's gotta be because Joe seems so like, let's make this thing work. This is my toy. I don't care how much money I lose. I'm here to have fun,
guys. How do you? It's kind of blowing my mind here. How do you improve this team right now?
Well, that's a
new coach.
Yeah, new coach. That's it. But there is no new coach that is better than Frank Klopas, that is willing to come to the Fire. Therein lies your conundrum.
Well, you know what's the problem? You know what the problem is too is that, let's say Klopas gets fired in May because the Fire are like on a 5-6 game losing streak.
Never gonna happen.
No, hold on. Let's say he does get fired. Guess who's gonna run the team after he gets fired?
The assistant coach,
Pablo Nagamura.
I called at the beginning of the season that the error replacement is already here, and he's cheap as chips.
And there's a little history behind that because he was actually one of the finalists to be a head coach of the Fire before we hired Ezra Hendrickson.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up going to Houston. And he didn't even last. He didn't last in Houston. He was only there for a couple of months.
Sure did something special with that Houston team.
Ben Olsen figured it out right away. How hilarious. Ben Olsen went in, figured out what Nagamura could not, and here's Nagamura plus Frank Klopas. They're both not figuring out. Maybe, just maybe, we need entirely new coaching ideas inside of the Fire that aren't here already. But maybe that's the time for another podcast, and maybe that's our next podcast, guys. Unless you guys want to continue.
I just want to say one thing. I'm very fearful that the Crew are going to stomp us. And that's not going to look good. And the problem is, like, I'm already hitting the panic button on Klopas. I mean, I did that. Like, you could just recycle tweets from 2011, right? and that's where I still stand. But, like, honestly, man, I'm not ready to hit the panic button on the talents on this team. And I'm afraid that like we're not going to like. I do have one question before we go. Is Andrew Gutman that important? That because he's out now, we're completely in a different formation that doesn't suit us.
No, he's not that important.
No.
Well, I mean,
not saying that he's a bad player. It's just I don't know. This was part of Copa's just trying to mess around with the formation and see what he would get. But you know, there's some viable replacements. You know, you got Dean on the bench. I mean, if you want to try.
Well, you got to move somebody to the left, right? Because Gaster,
it's Fabian Herbert
did not do it. Oh God.
Oh God, man. So look, all I'm saying is this. Right now, we're kind of in a like you know how James was mentioning about the talent on the field. We're kind of like this kind of reminds me a little bit about the Bears when they drafted Mitch Trubisky. You know, kind of makes you wonder had they drafted Mahomes, would we still get that Mahomes that is amazing?
Or would they have ruined his career?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, interesting. Very good question.
This is kind of in a situation like that where if you get rid of Copas and you bring someone else, all of a sudden does a team like start clicking, oh wow, putting things together and then making magic? Or is this going to be more of the same?
My biggest fear is that because of Klopas's tactics and the strength of our early schedule here, that we could be in a logical place where we haven't won a game. We're like 1 draw and 4 losses. And the problem is we still have the talent and we could overcome that in a long MLS season. No problem. Make the playoffs. But like the tomatoes and the cabbages and eggs start coming and then everything's just toxic for the players and the fans and everything else. That's my biggest fear because I do think it's MLS. Who gives a shit about the first 2 months? Like you can overcome an 0-1 and an 0-4-1 record easy and make these playoffs. But
if history ever is a reminder of all this, there's been times, for example, the past few seasons where we start off horrible, and then once we hit the summer, we get a couple of wins. It looks like we might make the playoffs. Hope. And then all of a sudden, it's going back. We were back to how another 10-game losing streak.
10th place, 11th place.
I will say, as a person that has lived through that many a year, even when people were having hope, it was clear that was no reason. That it was like, yeah, no, it's MLS. We're going to win a few games. You know what I mean? But this team has actually got a lot more talent than the last 5.
But does it have the steward?
No, you're right. It has a lot more talent. We just don't have the right man to manage this team. That's the problem. It's like the phrase, I'm not afraid, of 1,000 lions led by a sheep, but I am afraid of 1,000 sheeps led by a lion. Just think about that.
Dude, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that was a good enough thing to go out on, man. This has been a fun one. We had a guest. Everything went well. We have been Enemies of the Fire. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that other stuff. Help the channel out. Thank you for involving us in the community. This has been fun to do, man. And we're going to be here all season. So come look for the blue hair in the supporters section. Go harass DPG in the fancy seats. And we'll be back at you next week at some point, man.
And if you see me at the game, say hello. But help us defeat the YouTube algorithms by finding the like button and the comment button and just typing in a few characters. Could be 2. It could just be a good FU, or it could be a hello. We'll be happy to read it either way. We'll see you guys next time.
And just want to say thank you to all our 5 listeners that are listening.
And our moms.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And
thanks, Mom.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah.